Hello, everyone. Welcome to Feedstuffs 365. I'm Sarah Muirhead, and I have with me today agricultural meteorologist Greg Soulje. Welcome, Greg. Nice to have you back here on this Friday.
Yeah, hip hip hooray for a finally Friday. A few short days till Christmas time. Hopefully, everyone out there has been naughty and nice, not naughty all the time. But it is what it is. And it's going to be kind of at least wheels down and hip boots on for Santa, St. Nick, and the reindeer crew, except for areas of the upper Midwest. But mild weather, nice break in the at least mid to late November, early December storminess over much of the country.
Yeah, some folks might not like you here in the Midwest because I think we're having about 50 degrees here in Northern Illinois on Christmas Day, but not a white Christmas, but that's okay. That's all
Yeah,
right.
we had a white Thanksgiving for some, but not a
There we
white
go.
Christmas. But I'm sure we'll make up for it here on the longer range weather maps and charts. But just go with the flow, get it done while you may out there with some bonus outdoor work time. So off we go here on
Exactly.
this 19th, on a Friday, and it is a day that features a quick shot of a reminder of the season for many areas in the northern and eastern Corn Belt in particular. Stout west northwesterly winds coming off some of those 50 to 55 mile per hour winds and that fast moving area of rain, plus the snow melt. So, yeah, it's muddy out there. Remember compaction issues and these sudden changes to colder weather and deeper, colder profiles we get into January around here. So keep an eye on the rutting potential. Keep an eye on livestock, maybe opportunities to move some feed and equipment around. And that front, by the way, is blaring its way into the eastern states. Readings were down below zero in the northeast Iowa, outside of Ames, Cedar Rapids, up towards and around Decorah to the Minnesota line, 20 to 25 below, up near the boundary waters of Minnesota. Go west from there, and a warm front is developing, of all places, across the Dakotas. And it is snowing like gangbusters on top of the blizzard that they had across North Dakota during the course of the day yesterday. So a lot of the action continues to be across at least the northern reaches of the Corn Belt, and anything but a mid or late December feel going forward as we approach Christmas. And here is this contrast of weather, and you can extend it into the southern Canadian prairie and all the way down to the Gulf Coast, and only get surface temperatures in a range of like 130 degrees from Canada to the Gulf Coast. But that also equates to a temperature profile in the upper atmosphere where the winds blow and move weather systems. So it's a pretty dynamic setup. It's west to east. We get some of these buckles or troughs or systems to wind up east of the divide. Look out as we get into the New Year's holiday and beyond. So sub-zero cold across North Dakota. They're still kind of digging out from 50-mile-an-hour winds and blizzard conditions across Bismarck, Mandan to the Red River Valley of the North. Yesterday, meanwhile, 70-degree weather all the way up into the Nebraska Panhandle, and the web of pressure lines are packed. There's low afternoon humidity and probably still some dried out vegetation on one form or another, corn, or at least summer crops or winter wheat or whatever it may be, or pasture land. So keep an eye. There is an elevated fire risk across that particular part of the plains for the day today. Pretty quiet weather picture. Actually, a couple of thunderstorms. We'll take a look at that in a second over parts of the mid-Atlantic region system. They blew through the Midwest all the way out there. Still significant dryness and drought, but some relief has been noted in some of those deep cotton belt states of Mississippi, Alabama, and in through Georgia. The small font, sorry about that, but it has been rocking and a rolling, and a brief respite in the very wet and stormy atmospheric river setup into the Pacific Northwest, namely through Washington State. 18, 19, 20 rivers at or elevated into flood category mode. Meanwhile, you get into the front side of these weather systems, the downslope winds, and that's increasing fire concerns, as mentioned, across parts of the Colorado, the Central Rockies. Central Valley of California has been stuck in the typical low clouds, fog, but that's going to be breaking as rains begin to work southward across California. Most of the time, La Nina setups are not conducive to significant recurring winter rains as you would expect in California. So they'll certainly, hopefully, enjoy that thing and opportunities for some mop-up assessment and damage control in the Pacific Northwest. Now on to Argentina. Lots of stuff going on there as well. They've had some beneficial rain over the past 5 to 7 days, and it has been boosting significant moisture for at least the emerging summer crops, oil seeds, cotton, etc., so forth and so on. These rains have, again, been situated on some of the drier areas of Argentina. The cloud cover and the moisture keeping temperatures a couple, 2 or 3 degrees below average. The rainfall amounts and coverages really dropped off as you went south through San Luis and the Cordobal area. And those southern temperatures continue a bit above average. So you've got a pretty good range, unfortunately, of crop conditions and moisture levels north to south across Argentina. The soil moisture shortages are beginning to become a little more dominant now into the La Pampas areas, some of those cornfield areas of Argentina. So north in good shape, south in different scenario right now. And that's what we have to look at going forward as we get into Christmas week. So a wide range of conditions and some developing issues across Argentina, largely favorable, as we've been talking about, for corn and soybean early planted varieties across Brazil. The showers and thunderstorms have been of benefit. Generally, if you were to take the millimeters or science-oriented centigrade scale, move it into the kings of science, if you will, quarter to three-quarter. Some spots have been about 1.25 inches worth of rain in some of those areas. So there's been some drier patches, but significant relief and a pretty good generalized covering of moisture there. There are some areas out through Rio Grande do Sul and the south that did reach the upper 90s. The usual critical temperatures, even in North America, they apply to South America. You like about 89 to 94. When you get 97, 98, 99 degrees, it gets a little more stressful no matter what the soil moisture levels are. Soybean and even some of the corn crop numbers have diminished just a little bit, according to the governments of Brazil and Paraná. So that's the update down there through South America. Back domestically, there's the visible satellite, at least the infrared satellite picture from this morning, with the brighter clouds signifying weather systems, one across the Dakotas, one moving through Oregon, Northern California, one making its way through the eastern states, the one that came through the Midwest. There are the web of pressure lines, the isobars, if you will, from the Great Lakes to the Ohio Valley, and they drive all the way down to Cotton Belt country, where there will be another round of frost and freeze, replaced by 80-degree weather towards Christmas time. So they're on a temperature roller coaster and yo-yo, to say the least. And the web of pressure lines are stout out of the south and southwest, and kind of west-southwest out of the Central Plains and off the foothills of the Central Rockies, hence that increasing fire concern. Those mountain passes could see some gusts to 90 miles per hour. There is the early morning weather maps and charts. We did have some snow shower and flurry activity make its way through the eastern Corn Belt, snowing pretty steadily through Michigan, around South Haven, Grand Haven, northward through around the Boyne Mountain ski areas of northern Michigan, with winter weather advisories in effect there. Wouldn't be surprised under this cold air circulation, a couple of thunderstorms get going into the mid-Atlantic region. And you can see the southward extent of rain into Northern California, and kind of a early snow to rain transition point from the Dakotas and through Big Sky Country on the next weather system on the move. And there it is during the course of this Friday afternoon. Great Lakes snow showers and flurries, significant rainfall. We have made some significant inroads in the dryness and drought-related issue and moisture in one form or another over the northeast of New England. Cold front driving southward. On its heels, a warm front. These wide swinging temperatures will continue on, and the general pendulum into a much milder weather pattern across much of the heartland moving through the Christmas week holiday. So ups and downs on temperature, keeping those livestock managers, bin and barn operators, humidity values, temperatures, certainly need to monitor those things going forward here, with the rains coming down into the Pacific Northwest and building southward now into Northern California. They'll continue in through tonight, increasing south wind of the plains. So whatever we level off on temperatures this evening over the Midwest and across the plains, readings will be rising. These should be a little bit milder tomorrow morning over parts of the Corn Belt and Plains compared to what we had here this morning. Another quick little shot of some snow for the northern Great Lakes region. A couple of more cold fronts. So again, this up and down temperature pattern, the speed of which that's driving these features, the upper air features, are moving so fast. There's not opportunities to get Gulf moisture into any of these things, other than the dynamics, the wind profile that does squeeze out moisture in the Great Lakes region. So we'll get a little downward trend on temperatures with a cool off for parts of the plains and Corn Belt locales as we get into Sunday morning, and maybe another round of sub-zero cold. That's just the southern extent of this mother load that, again, from time to time will build on southward. That's the concern here in the weather office. We're so close to the cold air. The heat is to the south and not far away. There's a strong jet stream pattern. Once we can get some blocking out of the way, of the upper air profile, the North Atlantic, North Sea, and over across to Europe. We will be off to the races in chasing winter storminess around. Here's the fire risk for the day-to-day. That is elevated to a critical situation in the parts of Colorado, Wyoming, the Nebraska Panhandle, western Kansas. Kind of unusual to see that this time of the year into mid to late December. And a couple of thunderstorms in some of those rains. No severe, although there's a marginal risk in the coastal mid-Atlantic region, Chesapeake Bay area, Delmarva region, and back in the Pacific Northwest. Anyway, the next couple of days, the significant moisture is snow for the southern Canadian prairie, a snow rain mix for the Dakotas, snow through the upper Great Lakes region, rain over to snow across the northeast of New England, may generate a couple of showers across the Delta, the more significant swath of moisture into California. You can see the weather hazards there, generally high wind. This will be a very windy weather pattern through those mountain passes ongoing into early next week, if not longer, from Montana on southward into New Mexico. And the rains will be significant and driving southward all the way into the Sacramento, San Joaquin, and maybe the north end of the Imperial Valley. Drought monitor from Thursday, still dealing with it in areas of Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. Improvement for the northeast of New England, some marginal improvement over the southeastern states. Otherwise, except for the Divide Country down through the Rio Grande, we're in somewhat better shape. There's a quick snapshot of what's going on through central Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, and probably more rain than anything. When we do get systems to come through in the shorter term, there may be a feature in the middle part of next week that will generate some rainfall. NOAA tends to put out outlooks, by the way, for the drought pattern. This is their 90-day outlook that came out on the 18th of at least the 20th of November, and it continues to be backed up by the more recent one that continues to point towards drought improvement. There's a more recent one, but that one as well also showing, and we would concur that while it was, we have a break in this wet weather pattern, there are additional, obviously, winter storms coming. There is significant moisture coming, and it begins in the early part of January with some soft grounds and muddy grounds. So we have opportunities to get moisture back in the ground here, of which has been depleted, at least evaporated and dried out, if not melted. Whatever the sublimation process or melting process was, it is gone across a good part of the central Corn Belt, still lingers through the upper Midwestern reaches, and we'll add to that through the southern Canadian prairie. And the snowpack is building, and so it doesn't take much for these cold air masses to retool. And if we get the right steering currents into position, come on southward. So the days to come features heavy precip moving back into Northern California. It'll work down the coastline through early next week, 5 to 15 inches of rain. These are high snow levels above about 7,000 to 7,500 feet. So that's a lot of rain to pull off. And that's just more territory and geography for the rains to run down when they turn heavy. So debris and mudslide potential could be the story. Ongoing Pacific Northwest and building southward in through California. Wild temperature fluctuations of 10 to 20 degrees any given day through early next week across the Corn Belt, much of the plains. Meanwhile, if you want a respite from wintertime, head through Texas, the Gulf Coast, and through Florida, heading towards 80-degree weather there. And the warmth that comes back into the Midwest and the plains will be of a near record, if not record-setting category through Christmas week. Big moisture for California, the divide on westward, anemic stuff, but just rain, snow mix through the northern Great Lakes region. No major winter storms, except for areas of the southern Canadian prairie northward and a significant swath into the northeast and New England. Going forward here, the next week, you can see, generally speaking, it is a west or southwest or northeast upper air wind flow. You can see that high down through New Mexico, Rio Grande areas. If you were to equate that to the summertime season, that's the hot, high pressure heat wave ridge that sometimes plays into the Corn Belt and into the Plain States areas. So you just put it in the context of wintertime. Yeah, warm down there to say the least, and dry through the southern states. And that ribbon of air is fast and strong and moving quickly across the Canadian prairie. And that's where the Arctic air for now stays bottled up. Significant moisture continues across the west and southwestern reaches of the country. Series of fronts on the move, but generally speaking, into most days, some sense of a west or southwest wind flow, and really no snow pack or snow cover downwind of those southwesterly winds. So the end result, mild air. Mild days are certainly ahead. Quick look at temperatures this afternoon. The coldest through the eastern Corn Belt. Big recovery west of the Missouri, 60s and 70s there. That milder air come Monday makes its way with 40s and 50s into areas of the eastern Corn Belt. No real Arctic air in sight, and record-setting warmth over many wheat fields and pasture lands and rangelands for Nebraska on southward Wouldn't be surprised. We have some record highs Christmas Day, Branson, Missouri, St. Louis, Champaign, Springfield, Indianapolis, into maybe Columbus, with readings in the upper 50s to lower 60s there, and even a thaw of some of the snowpack and snow cover through the northern Great Lakes region. Cold for the weekend at night, especially next lobe through the Great Lakes areas, with readings down in the single digits either side of the zero mark. Then hovering close to or a bit below below freezing eastern Corn Belt. Mild air back over the central plains, western Corn Belt into the southwestern states, and we'll be hard pressed to find anything below freezing Christmas morning. So a fairly mild, if not warm, if not record-setting days worth of temperatures on Christmas Day. 6 to 10 days just for giggles around here. There's the ridge and the warmth across the middle part of the country. There's the precip outlook tending to dry out through the plains and western and southwestern Corn Belt locales. Unfortunately, down through the southeastern states, we'll have that 4-week forecast. No, we won't. This is the Christmas show. So in the following weekend, first weekend or approaching the new year, we'll have the 4-week forecast and the outlook for the rest of winter and springtime on this week in agribusiness. But you can always come back to the Feed Stuff site, and our podcast from last Wednesday will generate and portray the forecast going forward into the rest of the wintertime and springtime season. For giggles, the National Weather Service has their 90-day outlook out. Equal chances. Well, okay. Well, we would tend to think there's better than even odds for some recurring cold air shots across the middle part of the country. Warmth over the southeast and southwestern part of the country. Yeah, we tend to agree with that. But a much tighter compaction, we think, of these temperatures will breed a pretty busy weather pattern. Winter is coming back. Moisture is coming back. Just a hiatus centered over the northern plains. We think that should extend southward into the Great Plains, and a pretty active, if not stormy, pattern for much of the Corn Belt going forward. And per usual, after this run of moisture in the southwestern states, it is back to dry time in the southwestern reaches of the country. Next live stream, January 14th. That would be 2026. Would it not be, Sarah?
Oh, I think so. I always have a hard time transitioning, remembering what year it is, right?
Yeah, it takes me a few days to, that's not 25, good. It'll be 26, right. Whatever I'm writing down.
Exactly. But yeah, looking forward to that, and looking forward to the next couple of weeks of a little milder temperatures. Just be prepared for what might be after that, is what it sounds like you're saying.
Yeah, and Max loves it because he hates it when I say it all the time. The other boot and hoof are going to drop, and unfortunately, mud plus rain plus quick freezing plus winter sometimes can't be very easy for livestock operators and producers and all that across the middle part of the country. But we'll keep you posted in any event.
Yep, check back with us, and we'll give you some updates. So, Greg, thank you so much, and thank you everyone for tuning in.